I'm Supermoon Tarot, and in today's video we are going to be looking at what the universe wants you to know right now. This could be anything from love to career to mindset to mood. This could be a random but very useful bit of information. Whatever it is, whatever's the most important is going to be popping up in today's tarot reading spread. So as you can see, we have 4 groups in front of us. Group number 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to give you a moment to pick the group that you resonate with most. Now that you've done so, you can go down to the description where you can go to your designated group and skip to it. But let's get started with group number 1. Group number 1, let's find out what does the universe want you to know right now by looking at the cards. We've got Oracle card Moonlight upright, the Lover's card in reverse, 9 of Swords in reverse, 9 of Pentacles upright, and 6 of Cups upright. Oh, I can already see that I am looking at a very sensitive, gentle, intuitive soul. I love this. Give me a moment, though, to look at the rest of the information. Okay, so I want you to keep in mind this part of the reading is going to get more specific and might not specifically relate to you due to your circumstance and this being a general reading, but I want you to stick around because it still has, the rest of it will. The rest of it is more all-encompassing, but not everyone is in this case and scenario, so I just want to be clear about that. Normally, I don't get that specific, but that's popping up, so I just want to keep that in mind. So, going on, because it does so break apart into like 3 different sections, so to speak. So first, let's start with Moonlight Oracle card upright. This is, I just genuinely love this for pretty much anyone. It's kind of like my golden rule. It's the way I personally believe most people should be connected with in most of their lives. So right now is a great time for you to get in touch with your intuition. You're going to find we're going to go more into depth with that over here, and this still does obtain to everyone. So what I mean by that is this is when you're going to really give empowerment and attention to that first instinct. So this is a time to do away with second guessing. This is a time to even explore those sort of light inklings. Common misperception most people aren't aware of is when you are having a hunch, have a slight thought in your head, those are just as valid as the deep sense of knowing something and thinking like, yeah, I'm pretty sure like this is what it is, this is what I'm sensing. In fact, actually, most sort of psychic perception is not that intense, is not always like, yes, I feel it in my soul, you know what I mean? It can be a lot more chiller and relaxed. So in order to explore that intuition and give it more empowerment and let it guide you more often and build a inner sense of like confidence, because clearly this is a strength of yours and we want to strengthen that, is my spirit guide said you really want to explore divination tools. So they specifically suggested tarot cards or pendulums. This is having a feeling and then going deeper into that feeling and asking more questions, but also both of these practices involve using your intuition when it comes to reading, being able to intuitively know what question to ask next, and so on and so forth. And I want to be clear about this, they specifically pointed out these type of tools because if you actually know anything about divination, there's like hundreds of different tools you can use. And I said, is there any other? Can they use any others? And they said, I really stick to these 2 types that I'm suggesting over here, they're suggesting over here, because they said that you want it to be really specific answers back. You don't want to leave any sort of room for interpretation. Some divination tools can, be more avant-garde or leave a little too much room for being like, oh, it was the color pink, so it could be this, and it's still a little too much room. I'm not saying those are invalid. That's not what we're saying here. But in your particular case, to really dive that much deeper, these are the tools being suggested. Now, going on. So you're going to hear this kind of continue over. So over here in the Lover's card, for some people who are in a relationship, can this be new love or love they've been in for a while? Both. Okay. My spirit guide's saying both, but you would like the relationship is set. Like you're in the relationship. Even if it's like brand new, you just started dating and you're like a week into the relationship. So, and this also counts for people who've been in it for a little while. So something is not right here. Something's off in the relationship, as my spirit guide put it, and you are sensing it, and you are sensing it correctly. Now, I dug deeper. I made sure. I was like, is it something really big, like cheating? And they were like, not necessarily, not always. Sometimes it can just be a dysfunction in the relationship where it's about getting on the same page, and you can just feel like maybe they're struggling, maybe they're a little frustrated about something, and they're like afraid to tell you, and you just need to be like, hey, you're making this seem a lot bigger than it is. Can we talk about this? I'm sensing something. So this is, again, where the intuition comes into play, but it's important to remember that idea of you're having this sense, maybe initially the other partner will kind of deny it. Oh, my spirit guide's going, they will. They will deny it initially. They will deny it initially and kind of keep it at bay, but it's about not losing faith in your own ability and what it is you have to offer. And this is really important how it projects in the rest. Now, for people who are not in a romantic relationship, this is what I meant by when I said this is such a specific part of the reading. For people who are not, and they're like, oh no, I'm single right now, or I'm just currently dating, it's still important to remember the idea of not denying what you have, like, intuitive thoughts on, whether it be your interaction with friends or ideas of what to do next in your life. If there's any sort of resistance in your outside world of people trying to say like, no, I think you're jumping to conclusions, or like, why don't you be open? That's a common thing. You got to be more open-minded. I want to be clear about this. You're not being closed-minded because you are more connected to the truth and the answer, and you don't need to kind of sample test the other options you already know. That's not closed-mindedness, that's connectiveness. So keep that in mind. Don't let people kind of get in your head, because we don't want that lack of trust in your intuition to project into something that's going so wonderfully. So this is where it continues on. So again, if you're not in a romantic relationship, you could be denying this part of yourself and it could project over here. If you are denying this part of yourself, inkling in the relationship, which can easily be, discussed and fixed, and you're just it's just talking about the idea of sensing something's off and following that lead. We want to not project that and deny that part of ourselves and project it over here. So that's where the projection comes in with the 9 of Swords in reverse. My spirit guide said this is when you are like, okay, maybe I was wrong. I'm sensing it wrong. They maybe just had a bad day, or like, you're right, I don't know, and that kind of thing. You start to build up that negative inner mantra in your head. This is when you start to get in your head and that self-doubt starts to really kick in with the 9 of Swords being in reverse like that. Oh my goodness. I do not know if you can hear that. Hopefully it sounds really far in the distance. I think it does. Usually I think sounds sound like a lot more intense than they do. So no worries about that. So anyway, so this, when it's a 9 of Swords in reverse, and this is not to like freak you out or anything, it's nothing super negative, but when it's in reverse, it implies there's like some form of anxiety or nervousness, but it's really all in your head and you have nothing to worry about, and you're just kind of like making things more difficult than they need to be. However, it really needs to be upright, because you do have something to worry about. Nothing major, nothing that can't be fixed and discussed or whatever, but it's like it's more of the validity of saying what you're feeling nervous about, or what you're sensing, or what you're really leaving is connecting to is real. It is valid. You are sensing it correctly. But with it being in reverse, there's the potential to deny this part of yourself and then have it project into other areas of your life. Where, you might ask? We can get really specific. Over here with the Nine of Pentacles upright and the Six of Cups upright, both of them relate to your job. Now, I'm really happy to say with the Nine of Pentacles, it appears, not just appears, sorry, confirms, and my spirit guide told me this, but I'm saying it appears both from the card representation. My spirit guide said that you are actually totally on the right track with your job. And they even got more specific because I was asking more questions. And they said that this is especially valid for people who are like, I don't know, like I'm not that enthusiastic about my job. I don't really sense anything big is happening. You're doing great. You're really headed in the right direction. And with the Nine of Pentacles, this is like very big directional wealth. Nine of Pentacles is like big money, like the type of money you can really spend and like get yourself an expensive treat. It's heading in that type of direction. I can see my spirit guide nodding. They're like, yep. So this is fantastic and wonderful. But we don't want to get into our head and start having that sort of energy of doubting ourselves be brought over to work. Not because of the worry of self-sabotage and then ruining the chances that you're unknowingly moving towards in a positive direction, but like it's not fun. It's okay. So we don't always have, the map and road to our life. Wouldn't it be so frustrating if you looked back at it and you're like, oh no, I was totally on the right path and I was just in my head the whole time thinking I wasn't doing the right thing. Now that I have an outside perspective, now that I can look at the map of my life, oh my goodness, why did I do that to myself? Like I could have enjoyed the process more. I could have been all easier and faster. It's that type of mentality. And this intuition can definitely come to play at work because the intuition that's working for you so well right now is leaking over into work in a positive way and is guiding you in the direction of the Nine of Pentacles in the long run, which is really beautiful. Now, continuing off of that awesome wealth, which is so cool, love that for you, we also have the Six of Cups. Now, this is being really interestingly read for my fellow tarot readers. Not all tarot cards need to be read in the traditional way. My spirit guide is reading this as, they said, energy right now during your workplace is going to be translated or transmuted, like transferred. That's the word I want to say. Transferred between you and your coworkers quite a bit. And they said that this is not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, this is when you really want to get into boosting morale for the rest of your peers. This is not a subtext that something negative is happening, but when your peers are feeling motivated and positive and kind of coming with a good mood, that's going to naturally transfer to you. And when you are feeling positive in a good mood and trusting your intuition and feeling positive about trusting your intuition, that is carrying over to them. This is a system where sharing energy is super beneficial. And now that you're aware of it, you can kind of more like have a more hands-on involvement. So right now would be a really good time to regularly like boost morale with your coworkers, be like, good morning, do something sweet and special for them. Just kind of like get everyone pumped about their day, ask them how they're doing, that type of thing. When you feel someone else is like in a good mood, get excited. You're going to be taking on that energy as well. And just all of it's going to be benefiting the whole like group as a whole. That's like another thing I'm remembering my spirit guide said. They said the group is really important right now. So that's beautiful. So I hope all of this was helpful and gets you really excited. Please let me know in the comments below, do you already have a regular divination practice that acts as a sort of tool to developing your intuition more than just having an inkling, but diving even deeper into it? I'd love to know in the comments below. Also, consider giving this video a like, a subscribe, hit that notification bell. It helps out like you would not believe. I'm wishing you the best. I'm looking forward to seeing the next one, and let's get ready for group number 2. Group number 2, let's find out, what does the universe want you to know right now by looking at the cards? We've got Coming to Life upright, 4 of Cups in reverse, 2 of Cups upright, 4 of Swords upright, and 4 of sorry, I I was gonna say, oh, we have two Four of Cups, and you know how I always read them when they're in reverse and upright and stuff like that. And then my spirit guide cut me off, and they were like, "This is not being read the traditional way." Okay, give me a second to get all of that information. Okay. Oh my goodness, we have a guest. We have an animal spirit guide guest. Okay, give me one more moment. Let me just hear what they have to say. Okay. All right. Okay, this is exciting. So let's get into this. So first, let's start with the Oracle card, Coming to Life. So this is actually all about sort of awakened energy. And I can get really specific about this. This is when you feel like you're pretty, you're under a shell. You're unable to fully connect with the part of yourself that's passionate about life and excited to wake up in the morning. And suddenly it feels like that shell is coming off. And you are kind of pretty excited about everything. The passion within yourself, the passion for interacting with whatever you're going to do for the day or whatever, like hobbies or whatever you're about. But it's a big enough deal that it's the primary focus with everything going forward in the tarot card reading. And I love this too, because this is something that we all don't know that we want until we're in it, and then it just feels like everything else is the bee's knees, the best thing we could possibly experience by default because of that energy. Keep that in mind with what's going on over here with the Two of Cups. So we've got this great awakened energy. You're like, oh my goodness, I feel like me again. I feel like pumped. Everything's coming up roses because you're just in this wonderful state of mind and exuding this. Think of yourself, it's actually very appropriate to sort of the imagery going on here, kind of like Tinkerbell. And so wherever you go, you're spreading this sort of wonderful dust-like magical quality around you, and it will get on stuff around you, and it will then positively come back at you, and you will enjoy the benefits of that. So keep that energy up, keep enjoying that, but don't feel overwhelmed about keeping that energy up. We're going to be talking about that in 1 second over here. So over here with the Four of Cups being in reverse, this is an extra confirmation card of the idea of like you're awakening up, you're coming out of like a stale bad mood, because Four of Cups in reverse is like exactly that. Everything's going great. You kind of have everything you need, but nothing's really doing it. Nothing's really the vibe, you could say, or really doing, getting you excited about life. And this is described as coming out of a bad mood. But I feel like bad mood in that circumstance sounds more like you're having some form of like a tantrum. You're not having that. So again, this is the confirmation card that you're feeling good, you're waking up, you're coming out of that stale, apathetic time in your life. But let's talk about the benefits. So as you're coming into this energy and you're feeling really great, with the Two of Cups upright, it does appear romance is going to be finding you. This is really beautiful. I tried to get more specifics of like, what is this person like? How will they pop up? Because I always like to get as many specifics as I can so you can kind of keep an eye out. My spirit guide says it's not important. All you need to know is that you're so infectiously delightful as you're feeling this sense of excitement in life that this is how this other person finds you and approaches you. They're drawn to you. They want to be a part of it too. Now, I did, double ask and was asking about like, what if you are in a couple and, you're already with someone? They said that when you are with somebody, that other person is going to start mirroring and taking on that energy you're projecting out there. And so you'll notice the relationship between the two of you feels more like you're on the same page. There's a lot more excitement. You feel like they're giving you a lot more response, and it just feels like there's a lot more interaction going on and proactive interaction. And it feels less like, hey, how's your day going? And more like, hey, do you want to go do something? Hey, do you want to just chill out and have a night together and like hang out and like you're vibing? And it's almost that feeling of like, when you're like, you're just really vibing with like a friend or a loved one, and you're just kind of like, want to have like a night in, like a slumber party. It feels like your kids again type of vibe. It's that sort of excited, interactive, loving, wonderful energy. So continuing on for that though, these two wonderful cards, this card gives you a sort of awareness to keep this vibe going and not get too in your head. So with the Four of Swords, as much as you're feeling great, there are going to be some times when you're like, I'm still feeling great, but oh my goodness, this is a lot of energy I'm burning through. I'm getting a little tired. And then you might start to get in your head and potentially even get down on yourself that you're not feeling as vivacious you were an hour ago or the day before. My spirit guide said this is a good time to take a nap, take a second. Definitely, they said, do not be judgmental of yourself that you can't continuously exude this energy. But they also said, be aware of not giving into stagnation for a longer period of time than like a couple hours just chilling out or something like that. Like, definitely don't put pressure on yourself to always kind of like be entertaining everyone and like, you gotta be super happy all the time. Don't worry about that. If you're like, what, I'm just a little low key right now, I just want to not talk to anyone, be chill, I just don't really want to smile right now. I just need a second. Give yourself a couple hours to like chill out, take a nap, do what you got to do, but don't stay in it for so long. It starts to build up the habitual momentum of that sort of drawn down, nothing quite feels right energy of the Four of Cups upright when it is upright. So that will keep your momentum going, because you will give yourself permission to take breaks when you need them, but be aware that this momentum is going to continue to build the more attention you give it. So remember, it's not about the pressure you put on yourself, but coming out of that sort of tired state and being like, okay, well, what can I do that does make me excited and what does make me thrilled about life, and get back into that sort of train of thought. Now, our spirit guide, our animal spirit guide, because you can have human spirit guides and animal spirit guides. In fact, fun fact, you have both. But peacock showed up. I don't know if you can see the imagery right here. I'll show you. And I was like, hello. And they said that you are going through a time period in your life where you want your tail down, as they expressed it. It is not about putting, and this is repeated, we've talked about this a couple times, they said it's not about impressing others, but really being entranced by your own personal beauty and grace, because you have it going. Like, how a peacock looks like in real life, especially we're talking about the male peacocks, where they have these like beautiful green and blue feathers, and they just look so royal and stunning and very magical and mythical. You're sort of in that vibe with yourself. You're like, yeah, you know what? I do have this going. And we're not talking about just like feeling like pretty. It's feeling like, whoa, I am this super graceful, majestic, like I'm being rambly here. You get what I'm saying here. So it's very uplifting, but acknowledging of what you have to offer without, again, removing the pressure of benefiting others. Other people will benefit and you will see the benefits from you being you, but never fall into line of being like, wow, people really think I'm cool right now, and you feel like you have to entertain them. Don't give in to that right now. The more you give attention to yourself, the more the attention will continue to funnel in your direction from others. So yeah, I love that. But honestly, pretty good mentality to have in general in life. So yes, are you excited? Do you already feel like that little bit of energy is starting to peek through moment by moment? Think of it like an eggshell coming off of you, and you have these little moments where you feel like you're in touch with it, and then the next you're kind of a little more dormant, and then again you're in touch with it again. Please let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear all about it. Also, consider giving this video a like and a subscribe. Hit that notification bell. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you in the next one, and let's get ready for our third group, our next group number 3. Group number 3. Let's find out, what does the universe want you to know right now by looking at the cards. We've got your oracle card, Dragon's Lair upright, 4 of Wands upright, 3 of Swords upright, 7 of Wands upright, the Wheel of Fortune in reversed. Okay. Let me look at everything. Yeah. Okay, this is fantastic. I am so happy that you came to this reading and that you are receiving this information, because all of this is fantastic and wonderful, very good information that's going to really uplift you and get you excited about the future. However, some of it could be misinterpreted as somehow negative or a hiccup in the road or something like that, and it's not at all. But being able to know that in order to be like, yeah, this is how it's like working out. This is a good thing. This will keep you excited and motivated as you experience the whole process, because there's a lot of good in here. And even talks about an outcome, which I really love. So let's first start with your oracle card, Dragon's Lair Upright. So in Dragon's Lair Upright, this is what I mean by being aware of certain things. This is when you go into a situation and you start to get panicky. You can sense some things maybe, intense. Maybe there's like an inner sense of alarm system going off. And this does imply your alarm system is working perfectly. However, it also implies that sometimes when something good is happening, it is worth the challenge. It doesn't necessarily mean, and I confirmed because I was like, oh, could this go either way? My spirit guide, no, it is only good. They're nodding their head again. Yeah. So where you're moving towards is the right path, that thing that you're going for. Is this specific, like just love or just career? Everything. Okay. So this is a thing you're striving for. There's this sense of inner panic of like, I don't know, can I do this? This feels tough. This feels wrong. You want to still move forward towards it. If anything's really deeply wrong, everything will line up perfectly in the universe to get you out of there. You will be safe. You will be protected. But that is not the same thing. This is kind of almost like, I'm sure this is how many actors feel when they are going in for a reading and they are auditioning. There's a lot of panic going on there. There's everything in your body telling you to leave, but you go, you do the reading, and you potentially have the opportunity to get the part. And we're talking about you getting the part, and then in the end being really happy you have all this money, this job, so on and so forth. You get what I'm saying? But I did double check with my spirit guide. This can be anything from love, career, anything. This is just a thing you're striving for. But it's about moving forward and it being worth the challenge, that your alarm system is taking care of you. But that inner sense of panic doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It just means like you're about to like kind of really work for it, so to speak. That idea gets perpetuated over here on the Seven of Wands upright. My spirit guide said that you will have to actively work for this and you want to not censor yourself. So example, let's say this is love. Often when we are first dating for someone, there's a feeling of like, oh, they text me, I text them, they haven't texted me back yet, I can't text again, that type of thing. You want to stop, you want to be just totally unfiltered and be like, you know what? I feel like texting them again. In fact, I'm going to even call them and see if they're up and they want to like hang out and talk for a little while, or going out of your way to plan the next date, that kind of thing. It's the being like, you know what, I'm going to go past social norms and I'm going to make it very clear to this other person, like, hey, you're cool, you're worth it, there's something special here, I'm vibing this. Or if this is a job, this is like, you know what, I know I have to stay late after hours and that's kind of rough, but I'm going to do it because it is going to actually add up to something. We're talking about it. It is adding up to something, but yes, you're going to have to put in the effort. Ask your boss, are there any extra opportunities? Now, something important here. Hold on one moment. Something's like tickling my throat. My spirit guide said is they don't want you during this time period to view it as exhausting. They don't want you to have a mindset of resistance in any sort of way. You want to more view it as, and I love this analogy they gave me, they said, think of it as climbing up a ladder. And let's say you had to race up that ladder. When you reached up to grab the next one, it's the sense of like, oh, like you're really putting in effort, but that doesn't feel like the same sort of resistance when you're pulling yourself upward and there's like a direct acknowledgement that you're leaving the other circumstance you're at or getting closer to the place you really want to go. So consider that state of mind when you're experiencing it, and don't get into complain mode of being like, yeah, I just got to work hard, or yeah, I just got to be like, yeah, look at that opportunity. I got this. I'm moving towards that opportunity. I just did that opportunity. It got me closer. What's the next one? Okay, I reached out to them. They wrote me back. Okay, now what's the next opportunity? And just keep moving yourself forward. I do want to be clear because I'm getting a sort of energy vibe here. Don't be obsessive about it. Don't obsessively contact them. Don't obsessively freak out over every opportunity. Take a second, breathe in between if you are someone who's, can get in their head about these type of situations. But yes, be more proactive than you normally would be. So keep that sort of balance in mind. Now over here with the Three of Swords, this is kind of interesting and sort of very vague. I can get specific in a lot of ways about this card, but I was trying to get specific of being like, does this relate to the overall idea? And my spirit guide is nodding and saying, wait, are you saying yes? Yeah, they're saying yes. Okay, just double checking. They said yes to it, but it feels like it's like an idea that you're going to kind of like an epiphany, and this is sort of the way you're going to approach receiving that epiphany. So when we're not reading this traditional way, we're reading this as the Three of Swords. There's a three and there's swords. So swords represent mindset, ideas, logic, but we're focusing on the idea of like ideas. So we're thinking of something that you can think in your head and you put another thought together and you create another thought, and all of those three things together come together to create this bigger overall epiphany you're going to connect with. Now, but I want to be really clear about what the number 3 actually means when it comes to harmony. Harmony is actually something we can really clearly define in the Akashic records. So harmony is when you have 3 things. 2 of those things come together in order to create a 3rd thing. And then all 3 of those things interweave and like relate to each other. And that harmony coming together is going to create the idea and mentality. So this would be something like 2 parents getting together and they have a baby, and then of course, all 3 of those relationships are going to interact with each other. This would be like the moon, and then the tidal waves, and then the environment it creates from that gravitational pull and all the effects the environment has around it, but all of those things affecting each other. It's, life cycle, things like that. So it would be, and I double checked, I was like, how can they get a clue for this? They said for your particular circumstance, it would be something constantly repeating, and it would be super obvious and not really nuanced. This would be something you keep seeing over and over again, a topic discussed over and over again. But I do want you to get into the mindset of nuanceness. It's not just like, maybe you just keep talking about like owning a dog, and you just keep in your head saying that mantra that you keep hearing people talking about it, you keep seeing people with dogs, and it wouldn't be like, well, what is that? What's the mindset from that? You could say to yourself, okay, well, what would that represent? Well, that could represent responsibility, or that could represent the idea of connection, and connection in a way where you really, like, it's an unfiltered connection. You can like fully be yourself in this connection with another being, that type of thing. So it'd be something repeating, something obvious. These 3 things would intertwine and come together. And this is, when we come to harmony type of epiphanies, it is meant to be something you contemplate, you look out for, you put it together. It is a puzzle piece that can take either a second and you know exactly what it is. And if you do, please put it in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. Or it can, it can take a little bit. Don't fret if you do, but consider putting that together because it's a part of the grander whole. Now, we've got these 2 sandwiched in between things going on here. So I'm really happy to say, with this thing you're moving towards, this energy you're being put towards, when you receive it, I'm really happy to say, is it a receiving or like in the midst of receiving? Receiving. Okay, that's fantastic. My spirit guide said you're going to receive it. It appears not only do you get this thing that you're wanting to move towards, and it's a good thing, but a cycle is going to be broken successfully, which is really awesome. Now that cycle can be anything from, maybe you weren't someone who necessarily went towards things that were hard to work for. I don't want to use the word hard. You had to work for it, and you found a new part of yourself that you didn't resonate with before, now you do. That could be a cycle being broken. It could be anything, but I'm really excited for you because cycles are not fun, especially when they're not working in our favor, and it's really cool when we can kind of like start a new chapter in our life. So that's like another beneficial thing out of this whole experience. But also with the 4 of Wands, this is such like an appropriate ending. This is going to be something that comes to you, but this would be the type of pulling back, recuperative type of vibe where you're just like, I'm done, I've achieved a thing, but it is extremely celebratory. So this would be some sort of like party or like having a good time. Example, if this is a romantic partner, this would be like you finally are together, it's official, and then you guys take some time to have like a cute little date, and it's like a bit of like a festive, like thing between the two of you. Or maybe you like got that job you really wanted or got to that next level, and your like friends reach out to you, and just so happens to be a night where they're like, let's like have a really good time, and it might not be directly associated to your career. Oh, my spirit guide's interrupting. They said it will be, and they said if your friends are like, oh, we're going to do something else, but they hear you got the promotion, they'll end up being like, oh, we'll make this a celebratory for your promotion. So it will turn into that. But the point is, it will be just this fun, recuperative, good time. So overall, a fantastic reading. But it's good to know these things because we don't want your inner alarm bells or having to strive for something to take a negative mindset, or you to get in your head or kind of start to be like, man, this is hard. Or not, again, we don't want to use the word hard. Wow, I'm really putting a lot of effort in it. Am I making the right decision? Yep. Keep going forward. You're doing great. You're learning so much. You're breaking cycles. You're going to have a great time at the end. You're going to have an epiphany. I'm excited for you. So anyways, please let me know in the comments below what you're most excited about. Or if you're already kind of putting together that epiphany, I would love to hear about it. Also, consider giving this video a like, a subscribe, hit that notification bell. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for our final group. Group number 4. Group number 4. Let's find out. What does the universe want you to know right now by looking at the cards? We've got Coming Apart Oracle card in reverse. Oh, wow. 7 of Cups in reverse. Those are perfectly linked. Temperance card upright. Page of Swords in reverse. And 3 of Cups in reverse. Wow, so influence-based. Let me just get all the details because I already know what's going on here. Okay, sweet. And we have a confirmation card. Okay, I love that. I love when confirmation cards pop up. It's like an extra pinpoint of like, yep, everything's going to be okay, or yep, that's going to happen. So we're talking about a bit of a difficult situation, but I'm really happy to say that it has a happy ending. Always wonderful to hear, right? So let's first start with our, I would definitely say our overall theme in general with this entire card reading, sorry, being finicky, is the idea that you are being influenced and about not getting caught up in that influence. Now we can get into more specifics, but let's first start with the Coming Apart Oracle card in reverse. Now this is more especially associated with love, but we're keeping a pretty wide open door with all the influences, but it is like, my spirit guide said, like, it's especially love-based for a lot of people. So coming apart is when, are you sure it's love-based? Yeah. Can it be friendship love or is it just romantic love? Okay. It can be friendship, but it's mostly romantic. Okay, well, these options are out there. I always just like to get specifics. So with Coming Apart Oracle card in reverse, this is all about when, sorry, I'm just processing all the information. You have been in something and it's been going on for a little too long, and you have been sort of seduced, so to speak, by temporary elements and influences. This is when you're trying to like take some time for yourself and not get caught up in the drama of someone else, but they keep sharing it with you. They keep, saying something that's a little interesting, and you want to come back in and be like, oh, what did they say? What's happening? And you keep being pulled back. And before you know it, you don't really know what that feeling's like anymore to pull back and take time for yourself. That would be a good example for this. But this card doesn't imply necessarily like life's over, that's it, it's bad. It implies you can come out of it, and it's not even necessarily about, and I double checked, it's not about leaving your partner or something like that. I'm not saying it can't be if that feels like it's the right decision for you. It's more that this confusing element needs to be properly sorted. And the way you can properly sort that is by taking a sort of outer perspective. It's almost like, imagine you're in this labyrinth, right? And this labyrinth is little puzzle pieces and conjoining parts, and you're lost in the maze. It's about pulling back, taking a bird's eye view of the maze and examining individual elements, individual puzzles, simplifying it, seeing each part for what it is, rather than letting one thing entice you and pull you in, then the next, and you just kind of feel like you're, head spin on backwards. So it's about taking charge of the situation and seeing and really deducing it's very investigative work of being like, okay, well, let me look at this part of it and just really see it as it is. Don't let other influences come in and be like, okay, this is what it is, as it is. Then look at another scenario. This situation happened. This is what was said. Okay, I'm just looking at the situation. Again, don't let yourself be like, well, they said this and this happened. No, just look at the situation as is and slowly start to break it down. That idea gets confirmed over here with the Seven of Cups in reverse, but the difference is that while the Seven of Cups talks about, yes, there is a lot of factors coming in, confusing you, that it's like, well, they said this, but then this happened, and it's a lot of different factors. In the end, ultimately, there's one specific thing you're going to really hone into that's going to give you the answer and connection you need. So keep that in mind, look at it all separately, but there will be one thing in particular that sparks the sense of like, I figured it out. I have a better handle. I'm no longer trapped. I am the maze keeper. You know what I mean? That type of thing. Now, the Temperance card, I'm really happy to say, or actually, I'll just read it chronologically. The Temperance card is, I'm happy enough to say, the confirmation card that everything's going to be fine in the end. It does talk about more of the outer picture, so this is not necessarily just about you finding balance in yourself. It's more of a balance in the situation. Your other partner is going to be a lot more like even-keeled. It's going to be, and this doesn't necessarily have to involve your partner. Again, it's more romantic based, but this can be anything. The other factors are going to be more balanced out in the situation, and everything's going to be a lot more even and calm temperatured. And like, can I use the term healed? My spirit guide's like, yeah, like, so you get what I'm saying. So it's all you're gonna see calmer seas ahead ultimately. But something to keep in mind over here is another influencing element that is a part of the scenario. There does appear to be some other people involved. This could be anything from, like, I don't want to get into a sensitive subject here, but like another person, like romantically, but this, can I say that, or is that too much? My spirit guide said I can say that. Okay. I try to that's a sensitive topic. Or this could be friends. Maybe this is judgmental outsiders. I'm feeling more closer tied to that. My spirit guide's nodding. Okay, cool. So that's good. So I don't want you to jump to conclusions and think that there's someone else involved. It can just be like gossiping outsiders viewing the situation at hand, whatever you're in or whatever. But whatever it is, it appears it can result in some negative feelings within yourself with the Page of Swords in reverse. Page of Swords in reverse is when you kind of already assume the worst and you already are kind of not complimentary of yourself, but I would definitely say a big factor going on here is assuming everything's not going to work out, everything's not okay kind of thing. But I want you to keep this in mind. This is really important. This is why it showed up in the tarot reading. This group of people don't particularly feel good about themselves, and they are sort of having their energy sort of transferred to you. And this is just because they do not feel good in themselves. This is why it's not just the words what you might overhear and you're like, oh, I didn't love that. It's that they don't feel good in themselves and they're trying to transfer that. So if you start to feel yourself, doubting the situation, you need to stop, take a second, realize those are not your thoughts. Those are not your energies. I want to be clear, this isn't expressed enough, but you can actually pick up at other people's energies. Sometimes this is from a very caring place where on a subconscious level, you feel like you want to help other people. So it's like you take on their energy and you're trying to figure out their problems for them type of thing. Because deep in our deepest heart of hearts, we all just want to help each other through all the muck of no, I don't want to. It's really deep there. By the way, that's not you don't have to be that way. That I'm just want to be clear. But if you feel that, keep that in mind. You are just picking up what they're sending out there, and you want to not give in to those thoughts, but instead more focus on being like return that energy to sender. I have a whole spiritual talks videos about energy. I highly recommend looking at my spiritual talks playlist. It will go into much great detail about this, but you want to transfer back that energy to them, because that's not you and that's not the reality. And it just shows that their opinion doesn't really count in this circumstance. So don't let it feed. Keep in mind, the universe really tends to reflect a lot around us. It's not a coincidence that you feel so like lost in the kind of confusion and the head spinning of where do I exactly look and believe, and then simultaneously around you is that sort of idea being projected again in another form through, like, again, we talked about like just some gossiping outsiders type of thing. So keep that in mind, that this is sort of more of an inner compass of being like, oh, see how it's being projected again? The universe is really trying to tell me, like, this is the state of mind I'm in and I can get out of it. And one of the empowering ways you can get out of it is by realizing it's not yours to take on. Same thing over here. You're realizing a bigger element of the puzzle and you are back in control. So both, oh, I just realized the reflection. Oh, that's cool. Oh, cool. I love that. I love when that happens. And right in the middle is our happy confirmation card that everything's ultimately going to work out okay in the end. But be proactive, be investigative, and take like a look inside and learn to assess your thoughts and learn what are your thoughts and what are the thoughts you're picking up of others. So anyways, please consider putting a comment in the description below of how you're exactly like tapping into that, and what is your strategy when you feel that coming into you and you send that energy back. It's really helpful for other people, so please share it. Or anything else you have in mind you'd like to share. I'd love reading the comments. Also consider giving this video a like, a subscribe, hit that notification bell. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing the next one, and goodbye.